Okay, so today we're going to be looking at Asturias Leyenda, or sometimes just known as Asturias or Leyenda by Isaac Albanese. So this is a wonderful song, originally written for piano in a completely different key, but over the years it's been transcribed and adapted for guitar. It just lends itself really beautifully to guitar. So it's been transcribed and put into the key of E minor. So it's a fairly long piece divided into kind of three sections. There's a fast section, a slow section, which is kind of like the middle part, and then it goes back to the fast section, and then there's a closing coda section. So we'll be looking at the first section, which is considered the fast section, but we're going to be taking it slow. All right, so even slow, it sounds really, really wonderful. There's a lot of great technique in here and a lot of really cool stuff that you can get out of it. So we're going to just do like a general overview of the beginning. So this song, it can be done very poorly and sloppily a lot of times, but the trick to this is to really setting yourself up with a good foundation. There's a lot of good patterns in here, and really learning those patterns and getting that stuff solid is really what will kind of lend to success with this song. So we're going to take a look at it. The first thing we're going to look at, though, is the time signature and how to count it, which is really important, understanding all the mechanics and stuff behind it that really brings it together instead of just jumping in and playing the notes. So we're going to look at that, and that will help kind of make a little more sense of it. So that's the first thing we'll look at. Okay, so in regards to the timing, the first thing you always want to look at a piece of music is the time signature. So this is in 3/4 time, which some people consider a waltz time. Okay, so 3/4 is our time signature. So we're going to be counting in groups of 3. Okay, now with this though, we have 16th notes here. So if you're looking at this, we're looking at the first measure here. So when you have the double line on the bottom there, or if it was on the top, those are indicating 16th notes, okay, which are kind of fast. So the way that you would count those, if it was just quarter notes, if there was 3 quarter notes in there, it would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the way that we're going to count this is 1, E, and So 1, E, and So that's 4 notes evenly spaced over 1 beat. So 1 E and then the next section would be 2 E and the next section would be 3 E and So if we put that together, okay, this is one measure here we're looking at. It's 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and So for each beat, you're playing 4 notes. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and so that's important to consider when you're working on this. You could even work on just clapping it, 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and I would try to maybe emphasize the 1, 2, and 3. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and that way you can kind of get a pulse and kind of feel it. All right, so that's how we're going to count it. And this is the beginning section of the song. This is the running time of the beginning here, is that structure. So let's jump into playing it. So when we look at the first measure here, what you want to remember throughout the song is this is kind of a little bit different than most songs you're used to. We're going to be playing the melody with the thumb. The melody is in the bass line with this. And the treble notes, the high notes, kind of provide the accompaniment. So it's kind of the reverse of what we typically see, where the melody is in the high strings and then the thumb plays the bass notes. So we want to make sure to pay attention to the where the emphasis is, and it really should be on the bass notes. So if we just kind of look at those first, so the 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. So that's really kind of the melody, all right? And the other notes are going to be the accompaniment. So let's just take a peek at those notes first. So when we do this, you're going to start with your first finger on fret 7, okay? We'll call this the 7th position. All right, so the first finger is going to go on 7. Then your ring finger is going to play 9 on the next string. My pinky is going to play 10. So everything is kind of lining up. So anything on fret 7 is going to be first finger, 8 would be second finger, third finger, and fourth finger would cover the 10th fret. So it's the natural reach of the hand. So first finger on 7, 9 on the D string with my ring finger, 10, pinky, 7 on the D string with my first finger, back to 9, and then 10 on the A string with the pinky. So I would just go through and I would isolate and just do that part a few times separately. Okay, and remember, you're going to be doing that with the thumb. So just the thumb playing those as your melody bass section. Now, if you were going to count that, not to make it too confusing, but if you were going to count that and just kind of disregard the opens in there, it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and then when we add the opens in there, it's you can see my hand just stays right here, right in that spot. It's not going to move out of that 7th position just yet. All right, so the first thing you want to do is just work on those bass notes. And just get it nice and clean and comfortable. 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and... Okay, so that is measure 1. So now let's add the open B string in there. So in theory, you would ultimately want to be able to play this with alternating notes, alternating between either I and M or M and I. I typically like to do M and I. All right, to get it, up to speed nice and quickly, that would be the way to do it. All right, although you will see a lot of people playing it with just one finger, okay, either the index finger or the middle finger, and that's okay too. All right. In fact, I think I played it that way for a number of years. But if I was going to play it with 2 fingers, thumb, then I'm grabbing that with the middle, then index, so you can see I have this kind of little walking thing going on down there. All right, so that's maybe a long-term thing. For now, if you wanted to, just use one finger, okay? So maybe the index finger or the middle finger. Whatever feels more comfortable. I kind of think the middle finger feels a little more comfortable, so P and M. And you could even maybe hang on with the ring finger on the high string if that gives you some stability. So it's bass note and then open B. So all those open notes are just the B string. Bass note, B, 9, open, 10, open. And it just works its way through that with that B string being the accompaniment. And you are nice and slow. Another interesting thing too is, since that is our melody, it would sound really great if we could do those with rest strokes, but ultimately we're not going to have enough time to do that, okay? So what you can do to get close to the sound of a rest stroke is let the thumb, as you're striking down, let it go towards these fingers, as opposed if it was just kind of going straight or forward, you're going to get kind of inconsistent, weak notes. But if you kind of fall kind of back towards these fingers, you can get a pretty powerful, almost rest stroke type sound. And you can hear I'm keeping that kind of even. I don't want that to stand out too much. I don't want it to take over or be more than the melody up here. So when you're doing it, it might be a little bit hard to hear, but try to listen to those two parts separately. And being able to kind of work on the control of those two parts. Once you do it a few times, it's really not bad. So now if we look at measure 2, you will notice it is the same thing. So you're doing the same thing 2 times in a row. So measure 1, measure 2. Now we're going to look at measures 3 and 4. Okay, so this will be line 2 on your sheet music. So measure 3. Look familiar? It's the same as 1 and 2, okay? So the first 3 measures are the same, okay? And it's measure 4 where we have a change. So measures 1, 2, and 3 are the same. Measure 4 is 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. Okay, so let's listen to that together. So I'm going to be doing lines 1 through 4. Okay, from measure 1. Measure 2. Measure 3. 4. Okay, so now I'll play it without speaking. Now I'll do it slow. So now measure 5 and 6 will also look familiar. That's the cool thing about this song, is as big and scary as it seems, there are a lot of recurring things in it. So measures 5 and 6 are the same as measure 1 or measure 1 and 2. Okay, so measures 5 and 6. Okay, now just like the part before, measure 7 here is going to be same as the other one. So you have 3 measures and then a change. So the same thing is happening here. Okay, so measure 7. Okay, now the change is going to be here. This will be the 4th measure of this phrase. Okay, so let's look at measure 8 again. So 7. And just remember, you're going to just keep having that B, that high B, and the melody is up here. So 7, 9, 10, 7. This is a little bit of a stretch for you to grab 10 up here with your pinky. and then 9 with your second finger. Okay, so that's measure 8. So now I will play measures 1 through 8. Okay, so this is the beginning, 1 through 8. Always kind of gain your composure. Don't just jump right into it. Get your breath under control. Set yourself up. Make sure you're loose. Okay, make sure both hands are loose. Get your hand in position. Start to thinking about it a little bit. You could even run the time in your head. 1 Leyenda, 2 Leyenda, 3 Leyenda, 4 Leyenda, or even just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so all this stuff I kind of premeditate before I jump right into it. Remember, we want that to be nice and strong, and that's just going to carry you, that open B. Here, that's leaving you hanging there. So the next part, it's going to resolve to there. Okay, so we'll hold off on that next part, but work on it up through there. So 1 through 8, measures 1 through 8. Okay, let's check it out one more time. So take your time with it, take it slow, enjoy the process, really break down each section and try to build a solid and confident foundation. The ultimate goal is to take ownership of the song and really play it with authority. So if you listen to, any of the lots of versions that are out there, if you watch, you can really see somebody that plays it well really kind of plays it with authority, especially going into it right out of the gate. Even though there might be some good dynamics in there, some good ups and downs and ebb and flow, somebody that plays it well is going to have confidence and really kind of play it with authority and be able to really push it and pull it back. So that's one thing to consider when you're working on this. All right, but it all starts with building the solid foundation right out of the gate. So have fun with it. This is a lifelong piece that you'll be very proud to play, and it's very enjoyable. So enjoy it and have fun.